friends. In Planet Earth Dating, it's Saturday, May 15th, 2021. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as the souls are already living by the many search for truth rules already given to the search for truth community by wiser minds above all of us. And those rules include living true to our soul plans and to attempt to fulfill our sacred promises to Spirit, the promises we made before we were born. And it doesn't matter whether or not the souls are trying to do it. If the host lives are not trying to do it, then we're not doing our part, and we're not going to like the souls that we attract if we aren't even trying at all. So these two lives are part of an experiment of precisely 1 million souls who are supposed to be holding open portals to higher vibration dimensions, to wiser minds and higher vibration presences above all of us. And that's trickier than some might think because of the astral dimensions being so full of fakers and liars. We have these three potential inquiries that we have been assigned to offer up to wiser minds above, in the hopes that wiser minds above will be interested in some of these topics and we can get a portal open with a shared inquiry. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to read the three inquiries?
Okay. So possible inquiry number 1 is Reporters Sans Frontières, which is Reporters Without Borders, statements about false reporting around the world, intersecting with the dreamer's experiences of privileged souls not reporting bullying, and assignments being reported as if they are happening. Okay.
We see presences upstairs who seem to acknowledge that that's a reasonable inquiry. They don't seem to want to participate in it.
That's the feeling, like, oh, that's a reasonable question. I don't want to talk about that.
No, I don't want to talk about that.
Which is okay. We have possible inquiry number 2, which is the Hotel California messages about addiction. And multiple times over the last day, a little more than a day, we've had messages come in about the song Hotel California by the Eagles, just to clarify upstairs.
3 different people.
Mm-hmm. So that's another possible. I think they want to hear the third one before they'll say anything else. Okay, and then the third possible inquiry is, the reality of money is making it worse, not better.
Which we think we have to back up to cities. The reality of the move to the cities making it worse, not better.
Oh,
because
that's
if
right.
you're going to do away with money as a medium of exchange, and we have to revert to villages where the people can barter amongst themselves.
That's right.
And the Hotel California message, the Hotel California, that song's about addiction. So we think it's a message about addiction to, and we think it's addiction to bullying.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about.
So we have these 3 possible inquiries. We have this inquiry about addiction to bullying. We have this inquiry about, I guess, fundamentally addiction to lying.
Yeah, right. False reporting,
lying.
Bear false witness.
Right.
It's all that same feeling.
Oh dear.
Right?
Maybe they're all the same. And then the issue about cities making it worse. And we understand how it sure seemed like a good idea
Yeah.
to create these centers where the intellectuals could gather and come up with better ways to handle things, but they just seem to have come up with more effective ways of bullying,
That's the feeling.
and that doesn't work.
No.
If bullying were going to work, it sure seems like it would have worked by now. And now they're talking about the news images of various places around the world where there are wars going on, people attacking each other. Russia's attacking Ukraine. Israel is attacking Palestine. Much of the world is attacking Yemen.
Yeah.
There's many places where attacks are going on right now, and the human cost is horrific, obviously, but what the point has been of the voices channeling in is that when we look at those images, this is what humanity is doing to the planet, and those pictures of these war zones, it just looks like we have turned this planet into a massive garbage dump.
That's right.
And that is the outcome. And if you look at these pictures of these war zones, and remember that this was a natural, beautiful world before we came along. And then to look at those pictures and remember that and try and visualize what that area might have looked like before humanity imposed its presence on the area.
That's right.
And what it looks like now is a garbage dump.
Ah, that's right.
For him is the message. Why do you ask? Maybe we're supposed to look for the intersection between the three inquiries. What would the intersection be? Well, lying about cities being good, not bad. They're talking about this client that was looking for a person, had come to us searching for a person, a missing person, and the input from above was, it's in this 50 mile by 200 mile band, the person is in there, and then we were able to eliminate a good 75 miles, so 50 by 125 miles.
That's right.
And the problem was that band included a major urban area.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
with millions of people in it, and so that was not as helpful as one might think.
No.
And the best of the best upstairs, the best financed, best organized, smartest, highest vibration souls that we're likely to come in contact with in this dimension.
Thank you.
They weren't able to get a light that was able to pierce the density of the astrals around the city. It just
That's
kept
right.
bouncing off, and all they could say is, she's in
there.
Somewhere.
That's right.
And it was the lights that these angels were using to see inside just bounced off the astral pollution. I think that's what they called it, astral pollution.
I think so.
So unfortunately cities don't work, and that's really sad, because we think that what's happening in rural areas is that we're just as devolved can be, and it's just like bullies scrabbling amongst themselves and just not even a semblance of civilization. Like
That's what they're
nobody's even
talking about.
pretending to be civilized.
No.
They're just monsters. And this is very unfortunate. We don't like it.
No.
We don't like that. That is the reality. We don't like having to say that, but our experience of rural life has been pretty consistently bad.
And that actually links back to the first topic about false reporting and souls, privileged souls, lots of different categories of souls not reporting bullying, not reporting things being done the way they're supposed to be done.
There was that dreamer who was having an interaction with an extremely privileged soul
That's
of
what
an
they're talking
extremely
about.
privileged life, and the soul was basically saying, what are you complaining about? These situations are not a problem for me, the soul was saying, and that's a life of a billionaire with, no problems. Right gender, right ethnicity, right continent, backed by billions. It's really not compelling for that person to say, because it isn't a problem for me, it's not a problem.
That's right.
And if those are the only voices that higher vibration presences are able to locate and hear, then we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem.
That's what they're talking about. And someone is talking about the importance of accurate reporting and talking about a map that they showed us sometime within the last few days that had to do with journalism in human society on planet Earth.
It was from Reporters Without Borders.
That's what they're talking about.
And their job is similar to Doctors Without Borders in that they go into other countries and try to report on what's going on in other countries and to assess or grade the freedom of the press and the accuracy of the reporting in those countries. And there was this map of the world, and the only countries that were having acceptable reporting were Scandinavian countries.
That's right.
And possibly Ireland.
Possibly Ireland and possibly New Zealand.
And
that was
possibly Netherlands. The Netherlands.
Right. That's true.
But I think when we looked on the literature, it was really just Scandinavia, Denmark, Finland, and not even all of Scandinavia.
Not even all.
And everything else is problematic. And then there was much arguing by various factions online about was Reporters Without Borders slanting this pro-Western, or was it slanting this anti-Western? And there were both factions, everybody arguing. But the basic situation is that the media is censored. And if you know about Project Censored talks about this a lot.
Oh, that's right.
And if you know about arcticnewsblogspot.com, you would know that the media is very censored when it comes to climate change news.
That's right.
Which is a topic that influences all of our futures, possibly the most important topic that we should all be focusing on right now in the time we have remaining on Earth, which, we're all going to die. Heads up. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but none of us gets out of here alive, and death is a natural part of life. And start to consider what's our exit strategy, Do we want to stretch it out as long as possible, suffering in hospitals, allowing people to jab us with sharp objects? Or do we want to have a more dignified exit?
Oh, interesting. And they're talking about the song Hotel California.
Oh, interesting.
And that thing about you can check in any time you like, but you can never leave.
And stab them with their steely knives,
right.
But you just can't kill the beast. Maybe the beast is fear of death.
That's what someone's talking about.
That's interesting. That's how many people are controlled.
Yeah.
They're controlled by the fear of death. And we don't think anybody likes pain. Pain is, we think, universally not enjoyed.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Something that we think everybody would say they would prefer to avoid. Yeah. But death is inevitable. And the idea of avoiding death, now we just sound ridiculous.
Like way out of touch with reality.
Right.
Someone upstairs is talking about fear, and they're talking about how fear is an extremely powerful vibration, and how it attracts to the center of the fear, which is not the source of the fear, but the center of the fear, really, really powerfully. And they're talking about the fear of death. And they're talking about how when people are very, very afraid of death, what they're going to draw to them are presences, vibrations, sentiences who are wanting to exploit that fear of death. And so how paradoxically, the more we hold on to fear, and this person's saying fear of any kind, but this is just the flavor that was brought up in this particular channeling, the more we hold on to the fear, the more we're kind of guaranteeing for ourselves that we're going to get to interact with that which
we most fear.
We most fear. And they're talking about that, and there's big discussion about that in that room. That room seems to be discussing about the purposes of fear and the way that fear interacts with sentiences and the way that they interact with their soul plans, because there's some other guy in that room who's saying, but fear is a powerful motivator.
I don't want to be talking to these people.
No.
I don't want to be listening to these people. That's the wrong question.
Yeah.
What are our questions?
What are our questions?
We have this question about inaccurate media reports.
That's true.
That purport to be news, but they're just inaccuracies, and we see it interdimensionally and intradimensionally, both
That's
within
right.
the dimension and between the dimensions, the inaccurate reporting, and it just makes everything worse, really,
That's right.
for all of us, including the one who's inaccurate. Maybe possibly especially for the one who's inaccurate because of the bad karma of
That's
creating
right.
that. For whom is the message? Why do you ask? They talk about fear trapping people. They talking about the Hotel California message and how fear traps people, and we would say that that's not what we've been taught. We've been taught that it is not the fear that traps people, that it's fine to be very afraid. What traps us is our mistaken ideas of how to deal with fear, and to not let fear call the shots.
That's what they're talking
Hello,
about.
my old friend Fear. Thank you for being such a loyal companion. Now watch me do it anyway. And our Ra used to say, when you're at that point where moving forward seems impossible and moving backward feels like a miserable, slow death, congratulations, you're at the powerful point where a decision followed by action will make all the difference. So make the powerful choice to move forward and then take action toward that goal. And to not let fear call the shots. It's okay to be afraid. And we have found something fascinating is that the less we pay attention to fear, the less fear is present. And we can see that fear doesn't get to say for us, and we can do things even though we're afraid. And when we die, as is inevitable, when we shuffle off this mortal coil, we'll be glad for having done the things that we did while we were afraid.